Hey, we're the Red Pears, and we're hanging out here with Rob on Front Row Live.
What's up, guys? Rob here, Front Row Live Entertainment. I'm hanging out here in the studio with the Red Pears. I'm excited to be talking to you guys. This year has been pretty much monumental for you guys. There's been so many big moves for the group, but also the fact that you guys were releasing a new album right before everything was starting to really pick up. That must have been amazing. Talk to me about this year and how it's kind of allowed you guys to evolve as these new opportunities and new accolades are popping up for the band.
There you go. I feel like it's been they've gone hand in hand. I feel like uh, a lot hasn't changed in the sense of how we see things and how we work on things. I
Yeah,
think now it's just over the time those things accumulate, and now you're doing it on a
bigger scale.
bigger scale, a bigger platform. But I feel like the work hasn't really changed, or we haven't really changed. I think we've just been improving and getting better, and the platforms and the scales and the audiences have been changing. Like they've been gradually increasing, and that's just over time of like working at things, and so it's nice to finally having these breakthroughs feels really nice because
Yeah.
you've been working to have breakthroughs as these, but at the same time we've been kind of playing the same way. Like these shows, like we've been doing these shows, we've been playing the same way and approaching things day by day the same way for years. But
Yeah,
now we're just doing it
on
on
a
a
bigger
bigger scale.
scale.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I love the fact that you guys had different projects before. You guys collaborated multiple times before. So coming into this project, like how did those past experiences let you be able to create what you have created so far with this band? And, how do you feel that they allowed you to become better artists, better musicians?
They helped a lot because it's just experience as a musician, experience together, like me and Henry together. This familiar sense of relationship of how to create and how to get along, and having people such as Patrick and Luis, like having people come on board. But yeah, I think just growing as musicians and as people and how to like work as a team, and I feel like those experiences definitely helped out and added to what we're doing now as the Red Parents. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Now you're mentioning nothing really changed as far as the approach goes, but you got these opportunities like performing at Coachella, performing at a sold out show at the Forum. How did that kind of impact you now that you get that taste of like this is what our music sounds like in a big arena. This is what our music sounds like with a massive crowd. Like, do you feel that that kind of impacted like the creative process or like the way that you think about the new material just because now you see more people out in the audience or further people out in the audience?
I'd say no. I feel like we've always created with not having that in mind. I
Mm-hmm.
think we have always created with having us in this garage in mind and how we're expressing ourselves. I think it's awesome that it's been able to correlate or been able to translate over to like these like arena shows and
Yeah.
festivals. But I feel like we've always kind of have that mentality and attitude, and that I feel like we'll for sure always have and keep having is that we're always creating for us. We're always creating, not trying to do too much in a way. You're not
Mm-hmm.
trying to impress people. You're not trying to do it for this over there. You're doing it for yourselves and
Yeah.
ourselves, and hopefully that can translate over to other areas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it like stepping on that Coachella stage for the very first time, or even like the Forum stage for the very first time? Like, did it feel different when you guys started to perform, or did you feel like it was more? I don't know. Was it nerve wracking? Like, what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to like as we evolve as a band and meeting the people that we did meet like doing the smaller venues, or I guess not as small, but during that time I guess they were big, and now looking back they're considered like small, like the El Rey. We meet people like our friend Calvin who helped us out like for the bigger stages like
Mm,
Coachella and like the Forum. So coming back to this time around and performing at Coachella was like a breeze, having a team that's like handling the production side of things,
yeah.
or being able to go there and feel comfortable. I think that was one thing that we definitely felt was more at ease, knowing that we have like a certain, like we have a certain team telling us like this is our set time, this is how much we have,
Yeah.
and like rehearsing a day before, 2 days before, those performances to get everything like set to go like for the performance is just like a breeze, you know. But yeah, that's all I wanted to add. Shout out Cowan, you know,
Yeah.
he's honestly making everything easier in the bigger scales. Like the forum was honestly a stressful like show
Mm.
because it wasn't as like you would prefer it to be like production
Yeah.
wise, but either way, like having him on board with us was like it was easy. We're like we get it, you know, things like this happen, but like having him with us was like okay, we feel comfortable still.
Yeah. Now, recently, or leading up to Coachella, you dropped the fourth album, which is Better Late Than Never. Now there's this studio that you guys have here that you guys pretty much grew up in, right? Like, and it's cool that you haven't gone out to producers, you haven't gone out to other studios to create. This has all been created here. So how, what has that chemistry been like when you guys are here in your own home studio and just creating this record, or were creating this record?
I was gonna say, what was the last question though? About last question about something about how does it feel to be on stage? No,
Oh yeah, like how did it feel
I,
like stepping up on those major stages for the very first time?
uh, I feel that I think a lot of the stuff we've done before, like even playing like at our high school, like
Yeah.
gymnasium, and doing like little things here and there. I feel it all kind of adds up. Or playing these backyard shows and house shows. I feel like those experiences all kind of added up. Even when we're having complications at the forum, it doesn't really phase you because you're like, we've done worse.
Yeah.
We've been like handed worse, or we've been in worse situations. So like
Yeah.
you're kind of prepared for when things kind of go a different route last second, and you're like, it's okay. Like
Yeah.
you're kind of battle tested to face unprecedented situations, and I
Yeah.
feel like all those experiences before definitely help out when things don't go right, which it happens often. It's like things are kind of just happening, and things happen last seconds, but you always feel composed because you've
Yeah.
dealt with like a lot worse before.
Yeah, I feel like bands that started with like those like backyard shows, garage shows, like know how to
It
handle.
hardens you.
Yeah, exactly. Like know how to
You
handle
really know,
whether there's
yeah.
light, whether there's audio, whether there's a stage. Like you know how to put on a show regardless.
Yeah, so definitely those experiences like definitely helped out. I always think about those times. It was like playing on dirt,
Yeah.
playing like midnight. Like it's just like after doing that, nothing really faces you. Like when things go astray.
Yeah.
But the next question you were saying. Oh, okay.
So
Um,
being able to create this, all your music here, not having to go out to another producer or another studio.
I think it's nice to have the time to do it.
Hmm.
I think that's what's really important, and not have something, or have this pressure of time, or have this pressure of somebody trying to influence you, tell you where to go.
Yeah.
I think, but it's also like this thing where you also need to go for advice. You
Mhm.
can't, like, obviously someone like Calvin, like if
Yeah.
we would have never let him into what we're doing, we would have never learned things we've learned, or even recording a Sonic Ranch with Manny that we did over there. Like like there's definitely, it's hard. It's like it is important to do your thing, but also to venture out and to listen to other people, to have ideas and listen
Yeah.
to ideas and what works, what doesn't work. But ultimately, you do want to like follow your intuition and follow like what really means to you and what you hear in your head and in your gut. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna wanted to add that I think just being open minded, I
Mm.
think that's something that just kind of helped us out with just being open minded, and in a sense that's what helped us grow as a band. Like our friendship, like not just with me and him, but like everyone that's involved. It's
Yeah.
just like getting their input and what they hear, because obviously we all hear music differently, and I like Patrick likes more of the bass, and then there's Luis who likes more of the low end of the bass. So it's like things like that we see, and then there's Calvin's input too, which is like
Yeah.
he has like I guess a more professional ear, and like that's like the last opinion we take, and then we're like Then it's after that it's like between Jose and I, like what do you feel? But yeah, the thing is like we've always been open minded with the way we create.
Yeah. When it comes to creating, the two of you have always been writing together. How do you feel that that's kind of evolved on this new album? And do you feel that you just understand each other without even having to look at each other, without even having to speak when you guys are creating this music?
Yeah, I think Henry and I have like many years of that, and from the get go, Henry and I always kind of had that. Uh, I don't know. It was really weird. I feel like I've never really had that with somebody where, where it just click. You just both understand what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
But I feel it's also been nice to have someone like Patrick come along and have somebody just like that also has those influences and has like a different ear. can also relate to what you're doing. And someone like Luis, who also has his understanding of music, and he can like bring that, and I mean like an input from Calvin and stuff like that. So, and even
Yeah.
our parents, telling our parents, like, what do you think of this, and then listen to it. So it's just like showing our parents our music. So definitely we do, I think, take that input from people that matter.
Yeah.
People that really like those inputs really matter. We think we take those, but yeah, definitely. I feel like it's an accumulative thing. Like without Patrick's input or
Yeah.
Luis or our parents or Calvin, that final result wouldn't be what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick, how do you put your staple sound into their music once the lyrics are done, once the melody starts to kind of form into the new songs?
Honestly, it's kind of strange. Like I don't, I don't think like I don't know. It's funny. So when it comes to me like recording bass and stuff, like it's not really that I choose like like I want to this tone or anything. It's like that's what's funny is like I use whatever they like want, or it's like something where it's like they, I'm right here like help. They force me. No, actually,
Blink once.
it's like I'm like no, but I think that's what's cool about it. It's like it's always something where the three of us like agree on like
Yeah.
and that's why like he was saying like it's cool that all three of us like the same things and it's like it's just cool like I don't really have to do much when it comes to recording the bass and it's like if I record it a certain way or they record it or whatever it is it's like we just look at each other and it's just like yeah that's like we mostly just agree and there's
Yeah.
like slightly we don't really have to do much.
Seems like you guys are just all in sync. Like whenever you guys are just creating, like there's no real like no, this is what I'm trying to say kind of situation. So
Yeah.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I was gonna say something. We're just like jamming out, and then I guess Calvin is over here, and I'll be like, Patrick, record the bass. He's like, oh, I didn't think I was gonna record. I'm like, well, I kinda,
And then
think you should
stretch.
record it. Yeah. It also helps me like just listen to it differently because I feel like if I'm constantly playing it, the instrument, I don't hear it like in a third. Like
Yeah.
I'm constantly just hearing it from like the earphones or like
Yeah.
the way I'm playing it, but I need to hear it from like a different angle. So having Patrick play the bass helps me like figure out a tone or a sound that I would want for that.
Yeah.
But then he would also just suggest like a different pickup. Like I kind of like the middle pickup or the bridge or whatever he has it on the bass. Like I kind of like that sound more,
Yeah.
and that's what we go for.
I think I wanted to add to it. I forgot. It was like I think it's from like a previous question, but it kind of like combines with like that's what's cool about having our own studio.
Yeah.
Like you have that freedom, and it just feels cool that you're just with your friends, and it's like you don't feel like
There's no pressure.
yeah. I mean, there's some pressure, but like yeah, it's not like not the same as like like a label or something like or being at a studio. It's like you're on a budget or time, and it's
Yeah.
like you have all the time, and you're just with your friends, just having a good time. It's like you don't yeah, like you said, you don't feel that pressure. It's just not as stressful, I guess. Like there's some little things, but it's mostly just fun.
Yeah.
That's what's cool about it. It's like yeah, like Henry was saying, like I suggest this, I
Yeah.
suggest this, like, and it's overall just fun.
Now, sorry to break your heart, but I love the guitars on this album, and I love the guitars on the music in general. Like it's this beautiful tone that you guys have, something that like we don't hear too often today. We don't get to hear this kind of tone on the guitars or the way that you guys are using the guitars. Talk to me about how important those guitars and that sound is to your music, and do you think about that before the vocals or do you think about that after the vocals?
For this one, I think it was before the vocal. I think the thing that came last was the drums. Funny enough, yeah.
Came last?
Yeah, it came last was
Wow.
the drum recordings. Like he just laid down a quick thing to follow like beat, but we weren't like recording the precise sound
Yeah.
for that yet. I think the guitars.
He was waiting for you guys to be done so then he could step it
Yeah.
up.
Also, Jose does take a little bit more of his time, like just figuring out a drum because it's harder, a
Yeah.
harder thing to record. But yeah, the guitars just kind of came to mind this time around. I actually used pedals because I use the Line 6 Spider, which is like right there. I use it for my lead guitar, but then I used another one for a rhythm. It was like a pedal board that we were just messing around, and Albert came by with like some a Klon type of pedal, but I forgot what it was, like the brand of it. He came with that pedal, and we ended up using that one with some of the Strymon pedals that I had invested a while back, and that's kind of what it gave that sound. We were gonna go for that Jekyll and Hyde type of sound, but it was too like, yeah, I don't know. It didn't sound like something I would want to. You know what I mean? It's cool like being influenced by something, but not like imitating it. So
Yeah.
that's something that we always like try to stay away from. It's like, yeah, we're influenced by this, but I don't want to like
Yeah.
replicate it. Like
You still create your own
yeah,
sound.
yeah. And definitely that was like a part that Patrick also like just kind of came and like tone wise like what sounds better. Especially for like See What I Mean, that was one that really was like
That's probably my
trying to
favorite song
yeah,
on this
trying to
album,
figure
to be
out
honest
that
with you.
like sound.
Yeah.
I
Leave that one
think
in Tired.
Oh, thank you. But I think yeah, I think even in this record and more so just paying attention to tones and
Yeah.
guitars and vocals and drums, just playing really like more so than we had before. Because I think we have more of the luxury to afford
Mm.
different guitars, to afford like a different amp, to like to try things out differently and things you want to try out, not just somebody telling you, hey, try this guitar, it's expensive, like go
Yeah.
for it. I think us seeking out specific and
On
us
your
having
own.
like Calvin and Albert, like kind of like these people that are more in that tech, be like, how can I get this on Albert or Calvin? How can I get this? And they
Yeah.
kind of like giving you what they know. So I think that's what was cool about this album. I think that's us kind of our first time or having that like ability or having that luxury to really like try to record something and get that tone like as you have it in your head instead of
Mhm.
just recording and kind of like whatever you have is what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
This time we were able to kind of have a sharper aim for a certain like target. If that
Yeah.
makes sense, yeah. And the same thing for the drums. I feel like it's a challenge, especially recording here for the first time. You're kind of learning the room. You're kind of learning microphones. We've
Mhm.
never really like taken over like in the studio sense. Like we were doing a lot of like the microphones and mic placements. And
Yeah.
Calvin was like having his input.
We sacrifice songs.
Hey, it's kind of sacrifice. You have these children. You sacrifice. You sacrifice first for your next children. But yeah, like like you're just kind of learning. You're kind of learning like how to better produce and how to better like write songs as
Yeah.
as you're going in the art. Like after like painting after painting, you're just getting better with painting. So yeah, I think it was a good attempt, but I feel like honestly, I think we still have uh not better left, but I think we have room to improve on. That's what's
Yeah.
exciting too. Like the next time you redo this again, we record, we kind of already have like a step ahead,
Yeah.
or these shortcuts we created already. These little like ways paths that
Yeah.
how to get to answers faster and how to like take different paths. So that's exciting about how the next tones you can create now. Is exciting, yeah.
Yeah.
And songs.
Getting the sense of the room, like just learning how the room works.
Yeah.
Because there's things that we did differently in the beginning, which was like a lot of isolating, and then during the last songs was more actually letting it breathe, like just not even isolating stuff.
Yeah.
That was something that we noticed that sounded different. Yeah.
With you listening to the older material and then listening to this new material, I get a sense that your voice just went on to like a different kind of vocal tone, a different kind of way of uh yeah, that too. Yeah, maybe but I feel like just the way that you deliver your lyrics is different. Talk to me a little bit about that evolution of your songwriting, particularly for this album.
Well, it all started. No, I'm just kidding.
Back in the day. In Spanish, please.
Todo empezó. Spanish or English. No, it all started basically with the first album. It was recording the vocals and just doing freestyle. It wasn't even having lyrics, just singing the song. And then the funny thing about the first two albums was that we didn't even hear what we were recording until after it was recorded, because we didn't have the luxury of like playback or
Yeah.
hearing back what you're like currently recording until like it was done. And that was like one thing that I didn't know what I was singing until it was done, and I was like, hey, this sounds cool. And then this time around, or these like current albums, was a bit different because I got the chance to actually hear what I'm singing before or after it was done being recorded. Um, for this last one, though, we actually invested in the Avalon, and then kind of hitting up like Gordon Raphael for like little tips of things that he used like when he was recording. And that came a lot like in hand, like just knowing or getting that influence by someone who has the experiences and the sound that you've been trying to capture too, like that helped with like delivery and just aggressiveness in some
Yeah.
songs. Yeah.
You also had like better vocal control with these songs. I feel like some of these songs were a lot harder to sing, especially live. How did you go about as far as like learning how to control your voice and that like certain tones throughout these songs?
I think that's all touring though. I think that's like constantly doing something and practicing it. I think that's what kind of gives you that, like, you know, what songs you could hit or like what notes you can't. I
Yeah.
mean, I won't lie, there was songs that we did record, and Jose wanted to record them, like didn't realize and tired, and I was like, yeah, like I'm up to record, like I'm down to record them if I could hit them.
Yeah.
Like if I could still hit those notes, because I mean those songs were recorded during like high school or like after
Yeah.
high school. So I was like, yeah, my voice has definitely changed, but I'm like, if I can still hit those notes, I'm willing to like perform them because I mean, I want to be able to play them live, but also don't want to tire my voice out like during a month tour.
Mm,
But yeah, lately, no, it hasn't been feeling that way. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm okay with singing them. Oh yeah, I can focus only on vocals.
Yeah, there you go.
Albert.
Some of these songs, as you kind of mentioned, like some of these songs are fresh and some of these songs like take you back to like high school. When you go to those older songs and bring them into this new album, did you end up rewriting them or starting over? Like, what was that process for those particular tracks?
I just want to add something too. I just wanted to add something regarding like high school because it was kind of cool how Jose and I met each other. Obviously, it was a battle of the bands thing, but something that I feel like a band needs, it's like you being able to like communicate whatever you want with the person you're in a band with.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that like other projects that kind of lacked with, and that was a cool thing that I found with Jose was like things that we liked about certain bands and things that we didn't. It was like that's what kind of made this work. And yeah, I was just wanted to add it too because it was one of the first questions that you had, and now I'm bringing it back.
What was this question?
So some of the songs were date back to
Oh,
like your
okay.
high school era. So when you brought them into this new album, did you find yourself kind of like scratching them and starting all over? Did you change much of them?
They were worked over like a little bit. I think more. I think we ended up taking less away, because
Mm.
it was like we're doing more back then.
Yeah, you wanted everything
without realizing it. And now, as you mature as artists, you're like, oh, we can actually like strip things away,
Yeah.
like take some stuff away, and like let it breathe more, do this and that. So I think just having this approach of like of a more mature musician, I think was cool. But I think like the soul essence of the song was always there,
Mm.
and that's what felt nice about it, and that's what felt like it was a good idea to bring those songs back because
Yeah.
they were always honest. It wasn't like we're honest then and now they're not, or it was
Yeah.
they were a certain way back then and now they're not. I think they were created with genuine intent, and that's never changed. That genuine intent is still there even as we've grown older.
Yeah.
Like that soul is still there, and we still relate to that soul essence of the song. So not much was changed, just a little like fine technical things and guitar things and drum things, but like the majority of what the song is has always been that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're mentioning maturing and like, oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say the lyrics for the most part. Oh, the lyrics for the most part stay the same.
Yeah, that too. The lyrics, the lyrics, like stayed the same. I think that's what like that song conveys that feeling, back then and the way it does now. Yeah.
Must be cool to have lyrics from way back then or like when you're a lot younger, and yet they still mean something today, but also like they're still pretty powerful today. Like, sometimes some of us when we're growing up, we don't have that kind of dialect or don't know how to express ourselves, right? But the fact that those lyrics are still here today in 2024, like that must feel amazing.
Yeah, I think that's the best. I think to have words that are timeless. I think that's
Yeah.
what you wanna do. That's what we wanna do is
Yeah.
have songs and have words in songs and melodies and drums in songs that just always like they just never not sound relatable or just never sound bad or you
Yeah.
just never grow out of it. I think that's the music that we look up to. Music that like is like old or like from the '60s, from the '50s, or from the 2000s that like were good then are good now.
Yeah.
And I think that's the kind of music we want to create.
Well, at the same time, when I first listened to you guys, it felt nostalgic. I felt like I've been listening to you guys for a while, and I feel like that's kind of a cool feeling. Just because like music today, it's like, oh wow, this is cool, but then it dies tomorrow, right? Like, but this, like, I feel like I've been listening to your music or your voice or your sound for forever. So when you guys are creating this kind of music, do you think about that whole trying to be timeless, or is this just like a natural kind of process for you guys?
That's awesome. That's cool. That's so cool to hear. Because that's honestly like the thing you hope to do. The
Yeah.
thing you like. I mean, there's no like rule book or way to
Yeah.
create something that's gonna be that way. You just kind of like do your best. And like where it falls, and where it
Yeah.
hits, wherever it falls, it's gonna fall. But you definitely all you can do is just create with like your pure intent, your honest words, like what you think is best, what's good to you, like what sounds good to you, like what you think is like what should have happened, like just and you just kind of follow that darkness and like
Yeah.
whatever happens, you kind of go in the dark.
I was gonna say I don't think it was intentional though. I think it's just something that kind of the way we grew up to. I feel like now with like Spotify and everything, it's easy to access like music.
Yeah.
And before it was just I only had like 4 CDs, and that's the only like sound that was I was influenced by. I wasn't
Just
really trying
Eminem,
to.
Britney Spears.
It was like KG Elephant, like Arctic Monkeys, The Strokes. Like it
Yeah.
just kind of like kept switching back like to that. That was the only thing I was kind of influenced by, and there was another sound that I was like really like trying to like listen to or like felt influenced by.
Yeah.
Like none of the bands that I was like we were playing shows with in the backyard like never like I felt like influenced by, and it was all these like bands that I feel like did an impact, and it was like, oh, like I kind of want to create this, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was like hopefully we could do it. You know, Jose was the same. He felt the same influences, so it was like, yeah, we're gonna do this.
Yeah, I wanted to say I feel like it's important to like it's okay to not like something.
Yeah.
Or it's okay to like not necessarily like put it down, but like not feel that way.
Yeah.
Like you know, like you don't disrespect it or like put it down,
Yeah.
but you don't have to like like listen to it or like enjoy it.
Mm.
You know, and I remember this thing from like Amy Winehouse, something about how like she was hearing music at the time and she didn't like it. She's like, I don't like this music
Yeah.
that's going on right now. Like whatever was going on
Yeah.
during her time when she was creating, and she was like, well, I'm gonna create something that I want to
That I
listen
want to
to.
listen to. Yeah.
That's for me, and like that's when she like you know, and Amy Winehouse is now Amy Winehouse. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that's always something that I've always looked at and was like, it's not bad to not feel like you're a part of what's going on right
Yeah.
now. I think it's more important to
I think it pushes you to become your own self at the same time.
yeah, definitely to not be afraid of those feelings of like, or you know, I think it's easy to fall into like into line, into
Mhm.
like what's being done now, like because it's working, so I'm gonna do the same thing, or
Yeah.
this is popular, so this must be the right way.
Yeah.
But you're kind of you might be ignoring like what's really going on like in your heart. You know?
Yeah.
So I feel I think that's important, and that's a hard decision because I remember I was super nervous like at first because I just thought of like it's just me and Henry,
Mhm.
like the drums are simple, like we're too simple, like too easy, like this is too like every band probably sounds like this. It's nothing special, you know.
Yeah.
But I think what kind of like brought me back was that it was special to me. Like I cared about this music and Henry cares about this, so like that's all we need, and then it was everything worked out. Yeah.
During the process of this album, what would you say was the biggest challenge? Whether it was like vocally, instrumentation, the bass.
I think recording those sounds, yeah, like they drums, like they drums, and just getting tones was
Yeah.
hard because now you're just like it's just like a different kind of process that we weren't used to. Like we've been writing songs, but now you're like recording a song,
Yeah.
trying to get this specific sound, but you don't know how. So you're just trying to figure out how to do that, and you're learning on the same time, like what microphones to use, like what attempts to use, or like not attempts, but like how to capture something was really hard, and it was our first time like doing that. So definitely that first song was like the hardest, you know. It was the way you talk. That was the hardest because you're just trying to figure out everything, like
Yeah.
how to work a studio, how to record, like every instrument. Like should Henry singing from this close, from that far, this microphone with that microphone?
Mm.
Should we use this microphone for that? How about for guitar? Yeah, how many boards should we use them at all? We got them.
Yeah.
Should we, so yeah, that too for drums was like how hard can I hit them?
Yeah.
Like how close to the mic? Like all these little things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say. Because some of like these tracks, I feel like you're using brushes, but it's like impactful at the same time.
Yeah, I had to hit not as hard.
Yeah.
Because like when I would hit it hard, it'd be like it would kind of like it'd be too loud for
Yeah.
for the microphone, and it'd be like yeah, it wouldn't be captured right. And then when I hit him softer, it would be captured in the right
Just
way
right.
because.
Yeah.
But like when I'm playing live, I'm hitting like hard, you know.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that too. It was kind of like now you're kind of like separating playing live and playing in the studio, like two different ways to play,
Yeah.
and that's like a whole new thing that we weren't used to, you know.
Like the bass not needing bass.
Yeah, like a bass, not needing bass, and
We
like,
don't need Patrick.
No, like, who would think that was even a thing?
yeah, like all these little tricks
Yeah.
that you never thought of, but to get like a certain result
Yeah.
through a recording. Yeah, that's the hardest part. But I feel like,
Oh, sorry, no, you're still.
but
Yeah, before I forget.
Before I forget. That's because there was this funny incident. Like right now, we're talking about the bass.
Yeah.
It's like the first song, which was that, right? The way you talk.
Yeah.
It's funny. The first tone that we figured out, and the first take, we had a certain tone, and I think they wanted to do like more takes. But the thing is, forgot the
You
settings.
didn't know the tone.
We forgot the settings for the tone, and it's funny. Like it's just so we ended up using that first take is the final take, but we never found that tone anymore. We were like upset. We're like, how can you not? We're like, how can you not
Should've just
remember? It's
gone
like
with
we
it.
just yeah. Like that's what's funny. It's like we had this tone. Yeah. So that's something we learned on the first. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Jose.
It's okay. No, but yeah, it just seems like that where it's just like this whole new like field you're navigating.
Yeah.
You're just learning like that. Yeah.
And now this album is out. You guys had these shows, opportunities just recently. You're about to go on tour again for the support of the album. So I want to talk about this tour. How different is this tour going to be now that you've kind of basically graduated from the the recording studio to create this record? So that now you're going to bring this live. So how different is this going to be?
It's scary. It's scary to like to obviously take those leaps. You know, like bigger venues now. Like you're doing like you're improving, but it's
Yeah.
just like in that. Well, for me at least, you always have that like just the other side of like, well, what if it goes bad? But you're never gonna like know until you take those leaps.
Yeah.
So I feel like, well, you gotta have faith that just all the work you put in, all the years means something, and that you're not just gonna fall on your face.
Yeah.
And it's just having that fear of like maybe tomorrow it's over, maybe tomorrow we gotta stop being a band, and
Yeah.
like it's all these like possible irrational fears, but you kind of just have to keep going and like just kind of just keep going to tour, and everything always works out in the end somehow.
Yeah.
Everything you just keep at it and like find ways, and everything works out. But it's gonna be the last interview. Yeah.
This is the end.
But I think having that mentality, I think for me also just helps like just do your best. And you just
Yeah.
give your best, and whatever happens. But it's exciting. I'm glad to be touring. I
Yeah.
feel like we're all very appreciative and fortunate to say that like we're gonna go tour, because that's such a thing we fought hard to do and had to sacrifice a lot to have the opportunity to just go tour.
Yeah.
So that took a lot of progress and time to just go do that. And now we're doing it on a bigger scale, so that's nice. Yeah.
Oh, I just want to add that I feel excited because I don't think we have given this like album like the light to shine yet, and I feel like I'm excited to actually perform it. Because the last album that we did before this one, I don't think we played any shows until like after like kind
That's
of
right.
happened, and
Yeah.
that's kind of like a different thing. It's like this time around, it's like we could actually perform the new songs, and like I mean, we did it in Arizona as like a one-time like one-off show, and that was pretty cool. Like just the way that people reacted to the songs was cool. Like hearing them or even performing them live. That was like the
Yeah.
first time we did it at a show, and it was like cool to see that they were received well, and still creating music like for ourselves. But it's still cool when people still appreciate what you're creating.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel excited. I feel excited for this tour.
My only complaint with this tour, I don't see a hometown show. What's going on here?
Yeah. Yeah, we have a show coming up at the Shrine, November 16th.
That's massive.
So that's gonna be cool.
Shit.
That's gonna be cool. I feel like that's like the biggest show to date, and just
Yeah.
like the way we've been like been handed like like the keys to like organize it, and with the help of everybody that's involved. It should be cool. I think that's so cool. It's cool to organize things for yourself and can curate it for like for the people that like going to those shows, and for yourself, to kind of have like a
Yeah, featuring bands that you love and you went on tour with, and just kind of bonded with. So
yeah, just make it feel really organic and make it feel really like genuine, and I'm glad that we're able to like be all hands on with that and do it at a place like the Shrine. So that's gonna be really cool. Yeah, a big step, a big milestone.
Yeah.
November 16th.
November 16th. There we go. And that's cool because it's a massive venue. Every time I go to a show there, I'm just like amazed of like the sound of like how many people are in there, just everything in general of the Shrine. So I feel like that's gonna be an even crazier experience for you guys to experience.
Yeah, I saw Interpol there like years ago. Like
Damn.
20
What a
like
band.
2013,
Yeah.
2012, right? Something something like that. So like that was my first experience of playing it. And now like that's just cool playing at venues,
Yeah.
even the Greek, playing in the Forum. You're playing venues at bands you look up to and bands you
Iconic.
influence you used to play or once played, and now you're stepping on the same stage.
Yeah.
And that's always like a big, oh sorry. That's always like a big like mind like trip to
Yeah.
just like that's you're like sharing these stages with bands that to you were so like massive, when you were younger and even now. I think that's really cool to share those stages. And now we're doing what they were doing
Yeah.
in a sense, and that's cool.
You mentioned something earlier about like how going back. You mentioned something earlier about like how you've been basically you've been basically kind of evolving. And I'm curious to see, like, I want to sit down with you guys in 10 years and then see how different you guys talk about this creative process, this recording process, these mics, this, and the way that you guys create and record, just because like it's kind of cool being able to see it firsthand how you guys are learning as doors are opening up, gates are opening up for the band. So congratulations with that success, and thanks so much for hanging out with me, guys.
Well, thank you, Rob. Thank you so much, man.
You
Thank you
guys
so
be sure to
much.
check out the Red Pears. The new album, Better Late Than Never, is out now. They're going on tour in September, and thanks for watching here on Front Row Live.
Thank you.